So Liverpool have beat Real Madrid 1-0 using their formation and mostly the same lineup from last season. And it's making me think we have to play this lineup and this system as much as we can going forward. Because to be honest, the solidity that we had, all the personnel knowing how to play with each other and having that confidence of knowing all the little interplays and all those little interactions between the players, we just looked so much more comfortable. The build-up was more, I would say, steady, but also actually quite aggressive. The pressing was good. It looked like the pressing system worked a lot better. Everyone knew what they were doing. Everyone just seemed a lot more comfortable in their positions. The defending was better. I felt like when we sat in and Real Madrid had the ball, they created very, very little chances, maybe only one or two half chances against us, really. Only had like one or two shots on target. We had like 7 or 8 shots on target and about 15 shots overall. We looked a lot more dangerous and just a lot more solid as well compared to the past 2 or 3 weeks where we're getting turned over by teams quite a lot. I really felt like this system and this lineup of players has to be the one that's playing going forward. And then you could slowly add in those new players over time. Because honestly, Liverpool have had a bit of a struggle recently, and I think it's largely due to just trying to put too many new players in the team. Remember, this is a title-winning team from last season that did so well. Obviously, we haven't got Diaz, we haven't got Jota, and we haven't got Nunez up front. So we've got new forwards. We're going to have to use new forwards, but I really felt like Wirtz and Ekitike worked in those left wing and striker positions respectfully because they had that amazing balanced midfield that we have to play of Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai. Just such a good balanced midfield. Szoboszlai is undroppable from that 10 position in my opinion. You literally cannot take him out of that position. It is absolutely his position until someone wrestles it out of his arms, in my opinion, because the amount of work that he gets done in that area is absolutely outstanding. The amount of pressing that he does, but he also gets back in, he breaks up play. He's good at picking up the ball, hustling around the ball in those midfield areas, getting a toe on it and winning the ball back. But he's also good on the ball. He can also take a shot, as we saw with that handball penalty decision that probably should have been given. But overall, Liverpool have to play this lineup, in my opinion, because that solidity from last season, you could see it coming back over the past few games already. And I think it's just completely, you just have to revert back to what works, don't you? Obviously, Slot's put like 4 or 5 new players in the team at times this season, and it's looked a bit disjointed, as you would expect. He also puts a lot of new players on. As he said in his very interesting interview after the game, he likes to make attacking substitutions at 60 or 70 minutes. He very rarely makes defensive ones. He really likes to put new attackers on if we're chasing games, which we have been recently. But he also said what was really interesting was it was nice not having to chase the game because we didn't concede in the first half. So it means that you've got a bit more control over the game and you can kind of dictate things and you're a bit more comfortable rather than having to chase the game and then leaving yourself open, which is what's been happening a lot recently, where we're conceding the first 5 minutes and then we're always chasing the game, trying to get back into it, which means you're kind of stretched. And then it's easy to count on you and play through it when you're in that kind of mindset of being stretched. But I think the past 2 games against Villa, they hit the post in the first 5 minutes, so we could have gone 1-0 down to them. But obviously keeping a clean sheet against them in the first half, it gave us so much more control over the game. And I never really felt like they were going to come back into it as the game went on. And it felt like that with Madrid as well. Throughout the game, we had so much control, but we also looked very aggressive. We were good on the counter. We looked solid, but we also looked like we were pressing well. It wasn't just like we were sitting in. The whole system just worked really well against Madrid. Obviously, a team that want to play out from the back, which obviously suits us as well. They weren't going long too many times, although they did do it. But Liverpool actually showed some interesting nous because not only did they actually go long some of the time as well themselves, the build-up was actually interesting. Sometimes it was slow, sometimes it was faster. We had a lot of people running out with the ball from the back and beating their man. We saw Bradley do this 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Gravenberch did it as well when he received the ball on the half turn a few times as well. There was just all-round confidence and just a really good feel about the team. And I just really feel like it was down to that system, basically playing the same personnel as last season. Obviously on Saturday against Villa, we played Gakpo on the left, so it was basically unchanged apart from Ekitike and Mamardashvili in goal. Obviously Alisson would play if he wasn't injured. Obviously we got rid of, like I said, Nunez and Diaz are gone. Jota obviously isn't available anymore for obvious reasons. So we obviously had to make a change up front, but I think Ekitike has been very, very good this season. He's been really lively, looks dangerous, looks like he can link the play well, looking like a bit of a Firmino regen maybe, people have been saying, which I kind of agree with, the way that he likes to link up the play. But obviously that was basically the same lineup as last season, and it worked really, really well. Coming into the Real Madrid game, I always felt like Wirtz was going to play because he's played in every Champions League game so far. He's created like 16 chances or something, the most out of any team in the Champions League. So obviously if we'd banged in a few more goals and, you know, basically took a few more of these chances, Wirtz's numbers, personal numbers, would be looking a lot better. Lots of people hating on him at the minute, and I don't think they're actually watching the games because Wirtz is an absolute menace. I thought he was a total menace and a real problem for Madrid in that Madrid game. He just, the way, it was so perfect for him because I've been saying it for weeks. At Leverkusen, they played 5 at the back. He was playing that inside left channel midfield kind of role. And he had a free role there, but he also had the cover behind him so he could wander around. But he wasn't like when we were playing him in the 10 for Liverpool when there was only 2 players behind him in the midfield and we were getting overran and we looked unbalanced. He really looked so comfortable and so good on that left wing position because he could be there, but he was just wandering around. He came across to the right wing to press Huijsen, win the ball back off him in the right wing position and then square it. We almost scored from a chance from that. He just looked like a real menace in that position where he had a bit less defending to do. Obviously, when you're sitting in, you could still sit in and chase the ball around, which he did fine. You don't have to be a world-class defender and a world-class forward. That's obviously not his game. But I thought the whole team looked so much more balanced with him in that left wing position, and he looked really, really good at just wandering around into those pockets. He came into the 10 area loads of times, linking up with Salah and Ekitike, basically playing in behind them, but he was also on that left wing when we were building up. The overlaps with Robertson looked really fluid. Overall, the setup looked really good, and I think we have to play like that going forward for the foreseeable future. And then slowly you sprinkle in these new players as they adapt to the team, as they adapt to the system. You bring Kirkes on at like 70 minutes and give him 20 minutes at the end of the game to just kind of, you know, find his feet because he's been quite frantic. Obviously Frimpong as well. I think he's more like a right winger than a right back, if I'm being honest. But obviously he's been injured as well. But I feel like he probably would have been getting some minutes, maybe as a right winger, like he did against Galatasaray. I thought he looked really, really dangerous in that game for the first half an hour. And every time that he came on, he looked really, really dangerous. I mean, he'd beat his man every time because he's so rapid, crossing the ball in. I mean, eventually he's going to start getting assists if he just keeps beating his man, crossing the ball into Ekitike or Isak or whoever's in there at the time. We've got really good personnel. And we've got really good new players as well. Isak is obviously going to be an amazing player for Liverpool when he gets fully fit and starts playing properly. Ekitike has already been really, really solid for us and has to start for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. But we've got loads of good new players, but you just don't want to throw them all in too early because they all need, as Salah's been saying, as a few other players have been saying in interviews, they've all got to adapt to each other a bit more and get used to playing with each other. And I really felt like the familiarity of the players with each other in that Madrid game was obvious to see. Bradley was linking up really nicely with the midfielders, running through the lines. Konate was finding balls into them. Van Dijk was finding balls into them. The interplay between the midfielders was really good, but also defensively solid. The pressing structure looked right. It's looked quite disjointed for the past 5, 6, 7 games, but really looked like we were getting back to that good structure that was actually working. It was way too easy to play through us when we were playing against Chelsea, Man United. The press looked a bit half-arsed. It looked like it was a bit like we were just pressing for the sake of it and then getting played through, and the midfield looked wide open. I think that was because we didn't have that balanced midfield in there. Obviously, there were parts of those games where we did play those midfield 3, but it just looked a bit disjointed. But I think things reverting back to the same system as last season, it looks like we're starting to get that solidity and that rigidity back in the team. And I really feel like if we beat Man City at the Etihad on the weekend, we definitely could be looking at getting ourselves back into some really good form, because that is obviously a really big game. The Villa game was a big game and a massive statement. This Madrid game was another massive statement. And I think this Man City game is going to be pretty interesting. I think if we could go there and get a draw or even a win, or just put in a really good performance, I think it's going to be really, really good for the team. I think in general, Liverpool really looking like they're getting back on track, and I think we have to keep playing like we did this system from last season, the same personnel. Just introduce those new players gradually, Wirtz and Ekitike in there. Maybe bring Kirkes on for a bit. Maybe bring on Frimpong for a bit when he's fit. Mohamedashvili's obviously been playing, and he's been playing, I think, pretty well. Obviously, he's no Alisson, but Alisson is unbelievably world-class. Probably one of the best keepers, if not the best keeper in the world on his day. But I think Mohamedashvili's been fine. I think he's actually been looking better and better each game as well. That he's been getting some minutes, getting some experience. Overall, Liverpool are going to be fine. I've been saying this for a while, and I thought it was only a matter of time before we figured things out, and it looks like things are starting to turn now. And it's going to be really interesting to see how we do against Man City. So, as always, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think Liverpool are back? Do you think it's just a blip and they're going to go on and do some good things? Or do you think that they're going to get crushed by Man City at the weekend? Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.